Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Dallas Stars franchise mode. So in last episode we had the off season, and we did pick up a few new pieces in free agency, which I'm going to quickly show you guys, and then we're going to sim through the rest of this off season and find out any free agent signings that happened, and then we'll get started with the season simulation and all that. So we did pick up some new pieces. We were trying to go after Al McInnes for defense, and unfortunately Buffalo managed to get him before us. So we did sign a couple new players though to add to our team. So we brought in Donald Adet, pretty solid player. He was actually playing, I think, Montreal and Buffalo previously. I don't know if he played in Dallas in real life. I'm pretty sure he played there one stage, but I could be wrong, like maybe late in his career. And then we also brought in a defenseman, or actually two defensemen. We brought in Doug Howda for depth defenseman wise. And then we also brought in Don Sweeney as a top 4 player. He's going to be a really good penalty killer, so I think that was a good signing. As well, we brought in a depth forward, I think it was, didn't we? Who was it that we signed as a depth forward? Or did I not even sign a depth forward? Oh yeah, I did. Cam Stewart, yeah, that's who I brought in. 79 overall at 27. He's a grinder, which is something we don't really have a lot of, so he's going to be a nice physical guy to bring into the lineup for like Pearson if he goes down, or any left winger really. And then in terms of our goaltending, we still have Nabokov and Vokun. Okay, so so let's get into the rest of this free agency and see what the computers sign, and then we will start up the season simulation. So we might not get too far in the season simulation because of the off season, but we'll see. Hopefully there's some big trades this off season and big signings. Like hopefully a lot of teams switch players. So Tim Sweeney, after we signed a different Sweeney, they're not related, goes to Montreal for a first in Hamalainen, which head to Anaheim. So Anaheim headed back into a bit of a rebuild, it seems like. 2 firsts from LB, no thank you. He's pretty old at this stage, I think. No thank you. Not making any trades with any computers because they're just going to rip me off somehow with this roster build. And there's another weird trade offer. I'm not giving up any prospects either because we do have a lot of older guys still on this stage. Like if we're not really good by the deadline, I'm probably going to be making some moves, I think. Okay, so we're up here at August the 1st. Let's see if there was any big signings within the first month of free agency. We'll probably also check at the end of this coming month, even though there's usually not a lot of big signings in August. So trading wise, here's any trades that happened in that free agency month. As for signings, any big signings? Let's see if there's any big names out there. There's definitely guys that I made in this build signing in places. Grant Fuhr signing in New York. Interesting. Frank Pietrangelo. Titov signing in Germany. that's actually really funny. German Titov signs in Germany. The Russian that's named German signs in Germany. Huh. Okay, Jeffrey signs in Toronto. I'm pretty sure he played there in real life, so that's kind of cool. The big signings are probably going to be near the bottom of this list, I would assume. But yeah, a lot of players I made are still available, it seems like, are signing in places. Mike Gartner signs in Germany as well. Tim Thomas resigns in Edmonton. Marty McSorley in Chicago. Mike Ridley signs in New Jersey. That's a pretty solid signing, unless he's dropped off a lot, which he probably has. Kirk Maltby signing in Buffalo. Trevor Kidd signs in St. Louis. Dave Ellett in Anaheim. Okay, Bernie Nichols in Montreal. Our former defenseman Dave Babbage signs in Toronto for 2 years. Still, even though he's getting close to 40, which is crazy. Okay, continuing on with the free agent signings. Any big signings? Probably near the bottom of this list still. Paul Eisenberg, our former player, signs in Anaheim. Dean McCammon signs in Boston. Ted Drury in St. Louis, okay. Doesn't seem to be much big free agents, really. Olaf Kolzig signs in Finland for 5 years. Wow. Interesting. Anybody else? Chris Terreri signs in Florida. Peter Stastny signs in Ottawa. Craig Billington signs in Quebec. A couple other signings. Terry Egg signs in Washington, which he played there in real life. That's interesting, but 6 years is kind of steep because he's like 29 or 30. Jeff Sanderson signs in New York. Marcus Naslund signs in Winnipeg. Wow. I guess Pittsburgh didn't want to keep him around, which is weird, but I was hoping he'd go to Vancouver, but he goes to Winnipeg instead. Dean Evason, our former player, signs in Toronto. Kovalev signs in Russia. It's cool. He goes back to his home country. Kevin Stevens signs in New York. He was started in this build, I think, in Pittsburgh. So he actually went to the team he went to in real life. So that's kind of neat. Any other big signings? Doesn't look like it. Chris Draper signs in Washington, and that is it. So not a whole lot of huge signings, I would say. Al McInnes is definitely the biggest signing out of everybody, which he went to Buffalo for 1 year, which we could have got him for, but we did not pay enough, apparently. So, yeah, we're not actually going to check the free agent signings for this month just because there's probably not a lot of good free agents left. But we will definitely check if there's been any trades, just because there could be still some trades that happen in this offseason. Like this one, Gary Roberts and Steve Thomas head to Edmonton for a first and a second, which head back to Calgary. So the Alberta Rivals making a deal there. I'm not making any trades until this team does bad, pretty much, because I don't like getting ripped off in the offseason. There's another trade. Brian Bradley in a third head to New York. I don't know which New York team that is. Probably the Rangers for a first and a second. And another trade. Toronto acquires 2 seconds for Kent Manderville in a third. Didn't realize Kent Manderville had so much trade value, because he's more of like a bottom 6 guy. And that should be it for off-season trades. Yep. Okay, let's take a look at those trades again just to make sure there was no other ones, and then we will go take a look at our lines. Well, actually, I'll set up our lines and stuff for the season, and then we'll start up the season simulation. So here's some of the trades. So I think Tom Kerber's actually played for Vancouver at one point. He gets traded there, apparently. Is one of the ones that we didn't see, and the rest we did see. Okay, so let's sim to the start of the season, and then I'll adjust the lineup, and then I'll show you guys quickly so we can get started with the season, and we'll probably only do like a couple months, like maybe till January 1st. Let's see what our owner goals are as well, because hopefully our owner goals say that we're going to be a champion this year, maybe. We're still listed as a contender, and he expects us to potentially finish in the top 3 in our conference. Hopefully we have a good year, though. Okay, so I'm going to quickly edit the lineup, and then I'll show you guys it quickly, and then we'll start the season. Okay, guys, so our team looks pretty good, but we do have a lot of concern, which is we do have a lot of right-handed shooters, it seems like, but we do have a pretty good squad, and kind of we have too much right wingers to an extent that are pretty good. So anyways, we have Courtnall, Medano, and Wong playing on the wing. Second line, we got Adams, Lundell, and Klatt. Third line, Audette, Gagne, and Pearson. And fourth line, we have Cam Stewart playing with Brent Gilchrist and Scott Young. As for defense, we got Darian Hatcher and Zari Zalapski. And then Paul Cavallini dropped off a couple points. He is playing with Don Sweeney. And then on the top 6, we got Matt Tkachuk and Slaney. As for our goaltenders, Nabokov's up to an 88, and Vokun is an 82. Scratch-wise, we got Doug Howda and Mike Craig. And then in the AHL, let's just make sure all the right guys are playing. Yep, okay, everybody is playing pretty much. So we do got some good prospects down there, like Ludvig Martinsson, who was a low top 6 prospect that we drafted. He actually is almost NHL ready. Sorry about that, I got interrupted by a cat squawking. Okay, anyways, what I was saying is Ludvig Martinsson, even though he was a low top 6 potential player, he looks pretty good for the future. He's going to be our top line center down there in Texas. And then we also have Berglund still, who does not look like he's panning out. And also Eli Kessel, who does not look like he's panning out either. But Martinson definitely looks like he's going to. Like maybe at least be a fourth line forward for us. And I think that's pretty much all we have for prospects in the AHL. Lindback looks like he's not going to make that low elite potential, which kind of sucks as well. Okay, so anyways, let's get into the season simulation. So we're going to do probably up to January the 1st. And let's quickly set our captains, make sure, because we did lose Neil Broughton. Why did you assign Zarly Zalapsky as captain, dumb game? Zalapsky's been with us less than Medano has. So we're not going to have Zalapsky as captain for sure. Darian Hatcher is going to be our alternate. And then I think we'll give it to Medano for now. Just because Medano should have got it over Hatcher in real life to an extent. So there you go. Medano, Lundell, and Hatcher as our captains. I think that makes sense. I could also give one to Dave Gagne, but I don't really feel like doing that. So let's get started with the season simulation. We should be a playoff team this year. If we're not for some reason, we might have to flip a lot of our older guys just because it's pointless keeping them around for 1 year when they could test free agency. So let's see how we do in preseason. Wait, owner goals have been updated. And we're listed as a champion now. Okay. So that's good. I mean, I would rather be listed as a contender to an extent because when you're a championship team, sometimes you miss the playoffs, which is kind of annoying. Auto-assign those promotional lights. And yeah, I'm not making any trades, computer. You could stop offering me them. They're all trying to trade with me for Martinson because he's already listed as a fourth liner, but I'm not going to play him as a fourth liner until next season, probably at the earliest. Just because we have a lot of older veterans still at the moment that I would rather play. And I don't want him being like a depth guy for us because I don't want him to stunt his growth. So in this preseason, after we find out this was a 1-3-2-1, not the greatest, not the worst either. So let's go up to the end of October till November the 1st, see how we simulate. Hopefully this year, like I said, we make the playoffs at least. Hopefully we make it past the first round as well. Because we have been having kind of a stretch where we're not as good anymore. Like we made the Stanley Cup Finals, we won the Stanley Cup in our first ever playoff run, and in the last 2 years have been just first round exits to Chicago and to Germany. So I'm hoping for like a team that we could easily beat in the first round if we make the playoffs. But so far we're not off to a great start. We have not won a single game, but now we beat Hartford there 5-3, which is good. And as I say that, we win 2 games in a row. We're now 2-2-2. So we're off to a 500 start pretty much. There's another tie. Damn, a lot of ties actually to start the season. So I would take those ties over a loss, which is good. 3-2-3. Are we going to be 3-3-3-2? Or no? Nope, 4-2-3. This is a really weird record to start the season, but I'm okay with all those ties. Like I said, I'm not trading Martinson. A lot of teams want him because he's young. So at the 29th, we're 6-2-3. I must have accidentally simmed there. Let's do one more game. But a pretty good record, and we beat Sweden. So 7-2-3 in our first 12 games of the season, which is pretty good. That might be one of our best starts to these franchise modes so far. And Greg Adams is playing pretty good on the second line, 10 points in 12 games. And we currently are one of the best teams in the entire league. Finland is number 1. Damn, Alfredson and Koivu and stuff must be growing a lot. Okay, let's go another month. We're going to try and go through this a bit quickly just because I've had a lot of cuts in making this episode, so I have no idea how long this episode actually is. But I'm assuming it's probably going to be close to 10 minutes already, or maybe a bit after 10 minutes. We lose to Florida to start the month of November, but then we beat Philadelphia. Game against Winnipeg, who did they sign in free agency? They signed somebody big. I'm just trying to remember who. Oh yeah, they signed, what's his name? Oh yeah, Marcus Naslund. I don't know how good he is overall-wise, but they did sign him. Chicago, we beat as well, which is good. LA we lose to, and Edmonton we lose to. So back-to-back losses for the first time, I think, since the beginning of the year. Game against San Jose is a 7-4 victory. Wow, we beat Calgary 7-6. So our offense is really good so far, but I don't know if our defense is actually. Yeah, we've had a lot of good defensive games too, but some as of late that have been pretty bad defensively. So we're kind of a streaky team, it seems like. And we've now lost 3 games in a row, and we've lost 5 of our last 7. So we're kind of hitting a rough patch again. And Donald Adet, who we signed in free agency, has been injured with a mild concussion, which really sucks, but it's only for a couple days. It's for like a week or so. And we win 8-3 over LA. Game against the Winnipeg Jets again, who is in our division. We lose to them 3-1. And last game of November against San Jose is also a loss. So a very bad month actually for us, because we only won, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games out of like 13 or so. So it was not a good month by comparison to that first one. Where are we standings wise? We are still second though in our division. All the teams that are out of the playoffs currently are below 500, so that's a good sign. And currently Russ Courtnall leads us with 23 points in 26 games, so that top line must be doing pretty good, like Wong and Medano. Let's go another month, and then that's probably as far as we're going to simulate. We'll take a look at player stats around there as well. Check the trading block, see if there's anybody available, if we want to make a trade or not. Depends on how we do this month or not. Like, if we have a really good month, we might have a good enough team ready for the playoffs, and Lundell has now been injured. Damn. And Audette is back, so we're going to have to take Audette out, because he just literally went in the spot where, who was it was? Lundell was, and I want to put a depth forward in instead, so we'll put Howder there for a second. And then we will take out, who was it? Oh, yeah, it was Craig. But that line has a +5 chemistry boost with Craig there. It's kind of good. So we'll put in Donald Adet again. And then we will take out, who was this going to be? Yeah, Mike Craig we'll put in there instead. I think Craig has okay face-offs. No, he doesn't. But we'll keep him there anyways. Okay, so game against Tampa Bay. We win 2-1. So yeah, we've been having some really good defensive games, but last month we had some really bad games defensively. So like, this team is probably struggling due to the young goaltending, I think, because Nabokov is still only like 23 or 24 maybe now at this stage. Okay, so we got, who was it back in? Lundell. It's good. Hopefully Anton Lundell has a pretty good season as well and gets some good growth. Zalapsky was never injured. 6-1 win over Vancouver, which is nice. Game against Finland, who was a very good team. I don't know if they still are. Yeah, they're still really good, and we lose 3-0. Yikes, Finland might be a team that wins a championship, like the first European team. Because we have not seen a Europe team win a Stanley Cup, I'm pretty sure, yet. I feel like Finland will be the first team to do so because they had a really young roster to begin with. So a lot of those guys are probably growing. We win multiple games as we beat Russia and Quebec. And do we beat Finland? Yes, we beat Finland there, which is good. The Islanders have fired their coach, Mitchell Davison. We beat St. Louis as well. So we're having a very good month by comparison to last month. We also beat Boston. Game against the Flyers. Do we have an injury? No, we don't. Okay, we win or lose that game. And we're getting offered a trade, but I don't want to do it. Like I said, I don't want to really give up first-round picks in this build because a lot of teams take advantage of giving older guys like bad contracts, and then they trade them away for like first-round picks. We lose to Chicago, and we beat Czech Republic 4-2. And to end the month, we will beat Montreal 4-3. So we're 23, 14-3, and we're top in our division. And I think that's a good place to call this episode. We'll take a look at player stats so far for the season, as well as the trading block. See if there's any room for improvement for the last half of the season, because we're pretty much around halfway point, I think. Yeah, we're just under halfway point. Let's take a look at where we are in the entire league in terms of statistics. So we are 4th behind Finland, the Rangers, and the Capitals. That's interesting. In terms of goals for per game, we don't seem to be scoring a whole lot. Unless there's somebody right below. And we're like probably like top 15, maybe just a bit outside of that, 3.08. So our offense could be improved a bit. Our goals against, though, is one of the best in the entire league, just behind the Flyers, the Caps, the Canucks, the Sabres, and the Finland Brown Bears. And in power play percentage, we have the worst power play in the league. Okay, so that's something that definitely needs improvement. We should probably adjust those lines or something. And our penalty kill is also pretty much near the bottom as well. That's 79.4. So our special teams definitely need to be adjusted. Let's take a quick look at player stats. We're not going to take a deep dive at it, but we'll just take a look at who's leading us. So Courtnall, Klatt, and Wong all over 30 points. Medano seems to be struggling again, but he is leading us in goals with 17. So just quickly gloss over that player stat stuff. Who's leading us in plus minus? Darian Hatcher's a plus 19 this year, so he definitely has turned it around, it seems like, because the last few years, actually, no, he's been plus. There was somebody that was really badly minus multiple years in a row. It might have been Hatcher here early on, but since then he's been pretty good. And goaltending-wise, how's our goalies been? Nabokov's been pretty good, and then Vokun's barely played any games so far this season. Wow. I don't know why the computer's not playing Vokun a lot. That's weird. Yeah, Vokun might end up being like a goalie we have to trade away because he's not going to get a lot of ice time otherwise. Like a 4.81 goals against, and he only played 2 games out of the 41 games we played. Yeah, I don't know about keeping Vokun because of that. Okay, so let's take a quick look at what is on the block, and then that'll be it for this episode, just to give you guys a bit of a feel for what we could trade for. As well, I'm probably going to adjust the lines for the power play and the penalty kill quickly as well, I think, just to give it a bit more maybe of a boost for next episode. So there is some pretty good players with 1 year left on the block, but I don't know who we want to even move out. Like Bob Corkham's got statistical growth, it looks like, so he'll drop off. A lot of young guys as well on the block for most teams. Wait, was that Wackluck again? Yeah, it was still Wackluck. Eddie Olchuk, who was just signed in free agency, which is weird. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of good veterans available still if we want to bring in somebody to help us out. And a lot of young guys for the future, but we don't want to really do that. Wow, Emmerich is on the block. An elite player, huh? And we're almost near the bottom of the list. But if you guys see anything available, let me know. And I might trade for them, or I probably will trade for them. Okay, so let's take a quick look at our power play unit, and we're just going to quickly adjust that, and then that'll be it for this episode. If you guys have any suggestions for a better power play unit and stuff like that, you could also let me know that down below in the comments. So we'll put Medano back to center, and we'll put Wong back to the wing like the first line in real life. I don't know about having Adams there. I'm going to put Adams. No, I might just leave the power play the way it is. Or do we want to put... Yeah, we'll do something like that maybe instead. Because Lindell's more of a defensively minded forward. We'll put him there instead. Or actually, maybe this. Yeah, we'll do that. And then we'll do that quickly. We'll do this maybe. And then we'll also go to penalty kill. So our penalty kill hasn't been the greatest, but maybe do something like that, and I think that is good. Even though it is the same player, still we're just switching it up a tiny bit. Okay, so anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of our Dallas Stars franchise mode. So in next episode, we might make a trade depending on what you guys think, or if you guys don't think we should be making any trades next episode, we might just sim the rest of the season and find out where we make the playoffs and all that. So anyways, let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.